If you're a guy, you've probably heard this phrase at some point in your life. Looks only get your foot in the door, but it is personality that makes a relationship last. Some of the more active followers of my channel have a similar, more in-depth way of putting it. I can explain it using this graph. There's various time periods on the x-axis and percentage importance on the y-axis. It's said that for any interaction with a girl, the first 5 seconds is pure black pill, meaning 100% looks. This dies off very rapidly though, and if you manage to get through those crucial first few seconds, then the next 5 days transitions to red pill being dominant, meaning being able to use game, make advances, set up dates and so on. Finally, anything after that is blue pill. In other words, when the real romantic stuff can start happening, like the flowers, morning messages, and so on. I actually have one more layer to add to this, that the blue pill only gets you the next 5 years. Then, when everything falls apart, the next 50 will be spent as a glooming MGTOW. Anyway, I'm showing you this because this theory is what's widely agreed upon within this community. However, in this video, I'm going to present and explain a completely different point of view. This is the perspective I'm going to be presenting. A much stronger emphasis on the importance of looks even later into the relationship. I have 3 examples to show you supporting my narrative. Like those clips at the beginning showed, I think it's clear. The importance of looks never goes away. The black pill is always there, and I believe looks may well always be the most important factor, not just in the first 5 seconds, but over the course of the relationship too. Anyway, let's begin these 3 examples. And I'll start with something a little more personal that's happened in one of my own relationships with a girl. So I've personally been in 2 relationships in my life. And in both of these, one of my biggest fears, if not the biggest, has always been if she gets approached or hit on when we're both out together. And no, this isn't stemming from a personal insecurity of mine or me wanting to be overly protective. It's a lot more nuanced than that, and for this one specific reason. See, let's break the scenario down. If my girlfriend gets hit on when I'm out with her, it means 2 things must have happened. 1. The guy approaching has looked at my girlfriend and found her attractive enough to hit on. And 2, which is the more concerning point, somewhere along the lines he's also looked at me and thought to himself, wow, no way is that guy with this gorgeous girl. He looks like he's holding a very weak hand. If I approached her, I'd easily have a good chance of getting her to choose me over him. Now, this instance has only ever happened to me once, and honestly, this hit me like a truck, because at the time, my girlfriend literally told the man prior that I was her boyfriend, yet still he made his advance by the end of the night. Thankfully, nothing bad happened and my girl chalked him off. Anyway, the reason this circumstance still concerned me wasn't because of what I thought the guy who's approached thought of me. Rather, what I believed my girlfriend would now think of me after this event had taken place. Now, as I say, this only ever happened to me once ever in 2 years of relationships. But just think for a second if you're a guy and this happened to you regularly, once a month say, there's almost no doubt she'll eventually start thinking exactly this. Why am I constantly getting hit on by all these guys when my boyfriend is right next to me? Do they not think we look like an equal, matched couple? For every instance this happens over the course of a relationship will only put more strain and pressure on the guy, as the woman, and surprisingly also the man himself, will both sense deep down that the woman is viewed as a higher valued option. And the more regularly it occurs, the worse the effect will be. Any guy in a position where it's happening on a monthly or weekly basis must be getting nightmares every night as he's questioning to himself what on earth must be keeping her interested. So that's my first example. Now moving on to the second point, but before I do that, if you've enjoyed the opening of this video, make sure you press the like button and leave any thoughts you have so far in the comments below, as it helps the YouTube algorithm. Example 2, and this is perhaps the most bleak. This data on your screen now is from the General Socials survey and tracks how often married couples have intimacy by their age category. As you can see, there is a clear trend where the older the couple is, the less intimacy they have. In fact, by age 50, there are more couples having it almost never than the youngest couples are having it multiple times per week. Anyway, the reason I'm showing you this is because does it seem like just a coincidence that at the same time the husband is getting older, gaining weight, going grey and losing his hair, is when the woman is losing attraction for him, resulting in less intimacy. Now, of course, men becoming less attractive with age is just one factor of potentially many that could cause the frequency of intimacy in a marriage to dwindle. In fact, here's a complete list of all other possible factors that may be jointly contributing. For example, a man's testosterone decreasing with age, which decreases his drive. Or kids that are now in the picture, which take up a lot of time and interfere with privacy. You can pause now to read the rest of them one by one. Anyway, despite these factors, I still don't think you can look past the point which I believe may be most important about men's fading looks. I found some additional data that supports this point further. This chart measures the percentage of married men who have paid for intimacy in the last year by how much they're already having in their current marriage. As you can see, married men who are in dead bedrooms are almost 3 times more likely to pay than those with healthy amounts of intimacy in their marriage. 18% of guys getting next to nothing paid, while only 6.5% of guys with several times per week paid. This shows for a lot of men who are currently in dead bedrooms, they're still desiring regular intimacy, but unfortunately aren't getting that desire reciprocated. Therefore, they feel compelled to pay for it instead. And the reason I say this is so bleak is because for the majority of guys in this position, they are basically trapped. There is absolutely nothing they can say or do without affecting their marriage and causing problems in one way or another. It's not like leaving is an option unless the man can afford a new place to live, the alimony payments, and all the lawyers on top. So realistically, his only options are to either cope and let his frustrations build indefinitely, or take a risk by going under the radar and paying for it illegally, which obviously has the potential consequence of if he gets caught, leading to everything falling apart. So that's example 2. Finally, carrying on to example 3, of how your looks are still just as important for day 1 of your relationship as they will be for day 1000. All over the internet, you'll see women posting threads like these, about how their relationship is falling apart for the sole reason that their current boyfriend has put on weight. This one here even confirms what I've been saying on this channel for months. She says, "Nothing's changed except I don't find him attractive anymore. Is that still love, or are we just friends?" This remark is no different to what I've been saying all this time, that the only difference between a friend and a boyfriend is physical attraction. And you know this is true when a woman says it herself. Anyway, back to the point. This instance is more common than you'd think, and for 2 reasons. On the physical side, a lot of relationship activities, like ordering takeaways, watching movies and TV, drinking alcohol, have the negative byproduct of impacting your health. And second, on the psychological side, both the man and woman become content in their relationships and think it's their time to relax. They think, why focus on their appearance to improve their attractiveness when they're already tied down with someone? Also, although these factors may affect both the man and the woman in the relationship, in my opinion, it will likely affect the man more. From my experience, your attractiveness as a man is far more sensitive to body fat fluctuations than it is for women. Now, some of you might be thinking, it's a man's own fault for gaining weight. He should be in control of this to keep his girlfriend. On the contrary, this point about fading looks isn't just limited to weight gain. Here I found near identical posts, where women were again losing attraction for their boyfriends. The only difference this time is that it was for the man losing his hair. And remember, unlike weight gain, hair loss is something almost entirely outside of a man's control. This is the essence of what I'm trying to describe. Whether you like it or not, your physical attractiveness as a man is and always will be a crucial factor in a relationship. Now, one important point I want to say is, understand I'm not showing you any of this to make you angry or upset. I'm showing you this because it's the truth. And for those that are thinking at this moment, similar to this commenter, who says only the most superficial, forgettable waste of time are going to find male pattern baldness a problem. For those of you that are thinking this, I'd like you to answer yourself honestly these two questions. 1. Would your current girlfriend or the girl you're seeing right now have started dating you in the first place if you had a dramatic change in your appearance, like the example just talked about? And 2, how do you know if you do have a dramatic change in future, your girl won't be one of the shallow ones and leave you for it? Bearing in mind the majority of you wouldn't have had this experience before. Now, I'm not saying every girl will be like this, but it's important to understand that a given percentage of girls will be. You shouldn't become angry or paranoid. I believe the best thing you can do is accept this as a reality some guys will have to face. Don't go into dating with your head in the clouds. Don't be thinking all women are made of sugar and spice and everything nice. But at the same time, don't turn bitter and resentful, living your life down in the dumps and thinking the world hates you. The best way forward is to evaluate whatever situation you're in with a level head, accept and come to terms with any hard truths that you need to, and decide based on all grounds what the most optimal course of action will be. Anyway, those are my 3 examples with a bit of advice at the end. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you press the like button and leave any thoughts you have in the comments below, as it helps the YouTube algorithm.